Alpen Pharmaceuticals in association with Higher Secondary Principals Forum.
Hello dear students, I am Shreya Kale from Vidya Prabodhini Higher Secondary School, Porvorim. Today we are going to deal with a very interesting topic from organic chemistry, alcohols, phenols and ethers. Students, we have studied in the past that whenever any hydrogen of an hydrocarbon is replaced by any other functional group, we are going to get a totally new compound with altogether new physical and chemical properties as well as a new application. In this unit, we are going to learn such classes of compounds. We are going to learn their chemistry and as well as to some extent their applications. So let us begin with Unit 11, alcohols, phenols and ethers. We will study alcohols, phenols and ethers separately. The most common thing of these particular classes of compound is their functional group contains oxygen. To begin with, we will start with alcohols. The functional group present in case of alcohols is OH, that is hydroxyl group, and the general formula of alcohols is ROH, wherein this R stands for straight chain aliphatic alkyl group, or the alkyl group may also be branched. So this is the general formula of alcohols. We will see now how alcohols are classified. Alcohols are classified based on three different criteria. They are depending on the number of hydroxyl groups. How many hydroxyl groups are present in alcohol? Based on that, classification is being done. The second criteria is the OH group is attached directly to the sp3 hybridized carbon atom. That means OH group, when it is attached to singly bonded carbon atom, how many different categories of alcohols we can get. The third classification is based on how many different compounds we will get when OH group is directly attached to sp2 hybridized carbon atom. That means here OH is attached to the doubly bonded carbon atom. So we will see in details now all these three classifications. The first classification, as we have seen, is based on how many OH groups are present on the carbon. So based on how many OH groups are present, alcohols are classified as mono, di, tri or polyhydric compounds. See here, this is the first compound that I have written. Here only one OH group is present. This is called as monohydric alcohol since only one OH group is present. The second compound here contains two OH groups on two separate carbon atoms. Therefore, it is called as dihydric alcohols. In the third compound, we have three OH groups on three separate carbon atoms. Therefore, it is called as trihydric alcohol. So, if like this more than three OH groups are present in the given alcohol, that particular alcohol will be called as polyhydric alcohol. The second classification is based on whether the OH group is present or attached to the sp3 hybridized carbon atom. Now in this case, if we see this particular criteria, this particular bond, then we are going to get three different categories of compounds. Let us see what are these categories. The first category is primary, secondary and tertiary alcohols. In case of primary alcohol, the OH group is attached to the sp3 hybridized carbon atom to which two hydrogens are directly attached. Therefore, it is called as primary alcohol. Here you see OH group is attached to the carbon which is sp3 hybridized, which is in turn attached to only one hydrogen. Therefore, it is called as secondary alcohol. and here OH group is attached to the sp3 hybridized carbon atom to which no hydrogen is directly attached. Therefore, it is called as tertiary alcohol. So, this is the first category of compounds which we are getting upon attaching OH group to the sp3 hybridized carbon atom. Let us go to the second category of compounds, that is allylic alcohols. Now, let us first understand what is allylic alcohol. For that, we must know what is allylic carbon. So, look at this compound, all of you. Now, you see this carbon CH2 which is attached to OH group. This CH2 is sp3 hybridized, but this sp3 hybridized carbon is in turn attached to sp2 hybridized carbon. Such a carbon which is attached to sp2 hybridized carbon is called as allylic carbon. So, this is where we have our allylic carbon which is attached to OH. So, this is allylic alcohol. Now, this OH is attached to the allylic carbon which has two hydrogens directly attached to it. Therefore, it is called as primary allylic alcohol. Look at the second compound, all of you. OH group is attached to the allylic carbon which in turn is attached to only one hydrogen. Therefore, this is called as secondary allylic alcohol. Whereas in the third case, OH group is attached to allylic carbon to which no hydrogen is directly attached. Therefore, it is called as tertiary allylic alcohol. Let us go to the third category of compounds, benzylic alcohols. Here also OH group is attached to the sp3 hybridized carbon atom. Now, you see this carbon which is sp3 hybridized is directly attached to the benzene nucleus, and since this carbon is attached to the benzene nucleus, this is called as benzylic carbon, and this compound is called as benzyl alcohol. This is primary because OH group is attached to the benzylic carbon to which two hydrogens are directly attached. In this case, OH group is attached to benzylic carbon to which only one hydrogen is directly attached. Therefore, it is called as secondary benzylic alcohol, or it is called as benzyl alcohol. In the third case, OH group is attached to the carbon to which only alkyl groups are attached. Therefore, it is called as tertiary benzylic alcohol, or it is named as benzo alcohol. So, we have finished with the three categories of compounds that we are getting upon attaching OH group to the sp3 hybridized carbon atom. Let us go to the third type of classification, which is based on attachment of OH group directly to the sp2 hybridized carbon atom. sp2 hybridized carbon atom is nothing but the doubly bonded carbon atom, and we have the sole example over here, that is vinylic alcohol. See here, OH group is directly attached to the sp2 hybridized or doubly bonded carbon atom, which is called as vinyl alcohol. So, this is about the classification of alcohols. Now, with classification, the next step is learning how to name alcohols. So, let us begin with the nomenclature part of alcohols. In case of nomenclature of alcohols, there are two ways in which we can name it. One is IUPAC naming system and the other one is common or trivial system. In case of IUPAC system, you see the alkane, the parent hydrocarbon, the E of alkane is replaced by the suffix OL, and therefore alkane is going to become alkanol. Whereas in common name system, the alkane parent hydrocarbon is going to become alkyl and it is ended with alcohol. So, commonly it is named as alkyl alcohol. So, this is the table in which some examples of naming are given. See, this is CH3OH, this is the first homologue of alcohol series. Commonly it is called as methyl alcohol because one parent hydrocarbon is methane. So, it is going to become methyl alcohol, and IUPAC name methane is going to become methanol. Whereas in the second compound there are 3 carbon atoms, isomers are possible, and therefore you will have to number the system. Numbering is done in such a way that this carbon to which OH group is attached gets the lowest possible number, and therefore the name here IUPAC name becomes propane 1-ol, and since it is straight chain alkyl group, it is N-propyl alcohol. Now let's look at the isomer of this compound to which OH group is attached to the second carbon. So this becomes propane 2-ol and CH3CH3 becomes iso group, therefore it is isopropyl alcohol. So similarly I have taken few examples of this type. You can go through it, it is also there in the textbook. I would like to focus your attention at the last compound CH2, 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 and to each CH2 OH groups is present, and this is called as triol. Now commonly it is called as glycerol, and since all the 3 OH groups are present on 3 different carbon atoms, it is called as propane 1, 2, 3 triol, wherein 1, 2, 3 stands for the number of carbon atoms to which each OH group is present. Let's look at the cyclic alcohols now. Here ring is introduced. Okay. This is cyclohexane structure with OH group attached to it, and therefore this cyclohexane becomes cyclohexanol. There is no need of numbering here because the only group which is present on the ring is OH. Whereas in the second compound, which is a cyclopentane ring with 5 carbon atoms in a ring, there is need of numbering because apart from OH groups on the ring, there is also CH3 group on the ring which acts as a substituent. Now here we will have to number the system. This will be carbon number 1 since functional group is attached to it, and obviously this is going to be number 2. So this is going to become 2-methyl cyclopentanol. One can also write the name as 2-methyl cyclopentane 1-ol. Preparation of alcohols. Now alcohols can be prepared by many methods, but the starting materials that we have to take here is alkenes and carbonyl compounds. So these are the starting materials, and we shall see by how many different methods taking alkene as a starting material we can prepare alcohols, as well as taking carbonyl compounds as starting material how we can prepare our alcohols. Alkenes can be prepared by 2 methods, by acid catalyzed hydration and by hydroboration oxidation. And from carbonyl compounds are which compounds? Those compounds which contains carbon oxygen double bond. So carbonyl compounds, if you take as a starting material, we can carry out these 2 reactions. One is reduction of carbonyl compounds, and second one treat carbonyl compounds with the Grignard reagent. Now we shall see in details each of these method of preparation. So from alkenes as a starting materials, the first reaction is acid catalyzed hydration of alkenes. Now acid catalyzed hydration of alkenes means simple addition of water molecules across carbon-carbon double bond of alkene in the presence of acidic medium. Now here I have taken an example of unsymmetrical alkene, and you know that water is also an unsymmetrical molecule. So following Markovnikov's addition, the negative part of water is going to add to the carbon containing less number of hydrogens attached to it across a double bond. So here according to Markovnikov's addition rule, OH minus ions from water should attack this particular carbon. Similarly, hydrogen of water will come to this carbon, and carbon-carbon double bond will get converted into carbon-carbon single bond, and you will get propane 2-ol as your product. Similarly, I have taken another unsymmetrical alkene and added water to it in the presence of acid. So here also OH group should go to this carbon since it is having no hydrogens attached to it, and hydrogen should go to this carbon, double bond should get converted into single bond, and you are going to get 2-methyl propane 2-ol. Remember all of you what type of orientation it follows of addition? It follows Markovnikov's addition rule. If you are starting with symmetrical alkene, there should not be any problem. You can add anyhow in order to get your alcohol. Now this reaction, hydroboration oxidation, consists of 2 parts as per the name. First part is hydroboration, which is nothing but addition of borane across carbon-carbon double bond. This addition of borane across carbon-carbon double bond follows anti-Markovnikov's addition rule, or it goes against Markovnikov's addition rule. Now this BH2, see whatever is added is H and BH2, okay. Now this H is plus and BH2 is minus. So if you are adding the first molecule of borane, then BH2 should go to this carbon according to anti-Markovnikov's rule, and hydrogen should go to this carbon. So you are going to get this product, and again to this product alkene is added. Now this molecule can be classified as this alkyl group attached to BH as negative and hydrogen plus. So this molecule when it is going to add to this molecule, you are going to get dialkyl borane, and when we are adding the third alkene molecule, we are going to get here trialkyl borane. Now here our hydroboration ends, and next what we have to do is we have to carry out the oxidation with the help of peroxide, hydroxide ion and water, and this B will be replaced by OH and boric acid will be your byproduct. So here we have to remember that if you are taking an unsymmetrical alkene, diborane is added across carbon-carbon double bond according to anti-Markovnikov's addition rule. The next method is from carbonyl compounds. So we have finished with the two methods of alkenes, and now we are going with the carbonyl compounds. Reduction of aldehydes and ketones is the first method. I have started with ethanol and added dihydrogen to it. This is called as catalytic reduction. One hydrogen gets added to this carbon, another hydrogen gets added to oxygen, double bond gets converted into single bond, and you are going to end up with primary alcohol. If you start with ketone, that is propanone, any ketone you can take, and add hydrogen, carry out catalytic reduction, add hydrogen to this carbon, another hydrogen to this oxygen, carbon oxygen double bond gets converted into carbon oxygen single bond, and you are going to get propane 2-ol, which is nothing but secondary alcohol. So one thing we can conclude from this is, if you start with aldehyde and bring out its catalytic reduction, you are going to end up with primary alcohol. Similarly, if you start with ketone as your starting material, carry out catalytic reduction, you are going to get secondary alcohol. So here the third and fourth example, only thing what we have changed is from catalytic reduction, chemical reduction is carried out with the help of chemical reducing agent. We can make use of sodium borohydride in ethanol or lithium aluminum hydride followed by hydrolysis. The same type of product we are going to get as we have got during catalytic reduction. We can also carry out reduction of carboxylic acids and ester. Now how to carry out reduction of carboxylic acid? See, RCOOH is treated with lithium aluminum hydride chemical reduction followed by hydrolysis, and this COOH group here is getting converted into CH2OH group. Now this method that we have taken just now is a very expensive method, because lithium aluminum hydride itself is quite expensive. So if you want to manufacture alcohol on a larger scale, then we will have to go for some other alternative, and the alternative is here. This carboxylic acid is treated with alcohol and we are going to get an ester over here. This ester is then undergoing catalytic reduction, and this CO group is getting converted into CH2OH, and this R dash also gets converted into alcohol. So here this method, which is cost effective method, both the products are alcohols and both can be sold. Now from Grignard reagents. Grignard reagent is a very important class of compounds, and from this class of compounds we can get many other classes of compounds. Now how these Grignard reagents are going to help us to get alcohols by treating them with carbonyl compounds, that we are going to see with the help of reaction. So I have a carbonyl group over here, and these are the different alkyl groups or hydrogen atoms which are attached to this carbonyl carbon. We know that carbonyl carbon is partial positive, carbonyl oxygen is partial negative. Now we are going to add Grignard reagent to this. Grignard reagent, R is partial negative and Mg along with X together is partially positive. Now I want to show you the attack of this alkyl group to the carbonyl carbon. How it is going to attack? This alkyl group is going to attack this particular carbonyl carbon. Now carbon is going to become pentavalent, so this pi electron are going to shift to this oxygen. Now oxygen is negative. As a result, this oxygen is now going to pick up this magnesium halide. So now what you are going to get? You are going to get this is a very important intermediate which is a product of addition and therefore it is called as adduct. Now this adduct has to be hydrolyzed in the acidic medium. Now actually we are adding water there. So how we can show water? H plus and OH minus ions. So when water is added in the acidic medium, this is getting cleaved or broken. And how the addition is going to take place? Oxygen picks up this H plus ions and OH minus ions attack on this magnesium. So now what you are going to get here is this is alcohol. So this is the mechanism of addition of alkyl magnesium halide across carbonyl group in order to give us different types of alcohols. So here this slide shows us if we take different aldehydes and ketones, what are the possible alcohols that we are going to get. Now in this first example, I have taken formaldehyde and added Grignard reagent to it in the presence of dry ether as a solvent. So similar type of addition is going to take place and you are going to end up with primary alcohol. If you take aldehyde other than the formaldehyde, this is also an aldehyde but it is not formaldehyde, and carry out similar type of Grignard reagent addition, we are going to get secondary alcohol from it. And if you work out the addition of Grignard reagent with ketones, then we are going to get tertiary alcohol. So this is a very versatile method of preparing alcohols, that is by making use of Grignard reagent and adding them to different kinds of carbonyl compounds. Physical properties of alcohols. Now physical properties of alcohols, mainly we have to focus on the boiling point of alcohols and solubility. We know that boiling point of alcohols are much higher than the compounds of similar molecular masses. This is due to the presence of intermolecular hydrogen bonding between alcohol molecules, which makes it very strong. All the molecules are tightly held, strongly held with each other and therefore requires higher energy to break this intermolecular forces of interaction. Similarly, solubility of alcohols in water is also due to intermolecular hydrogen bondings of alcohols with water molecules. So in this particular picture we can see that there is intermolecular hydrogen bonding between one alcohol molecule and another alcohol molecule. This makes their boiling point quite high. In this particular picture there is intermolecular hydrogen bonding between alcohol and water molecule, which is responsible for the solubility of alcohols in water. Chemical reactivities of alcohols. Alcohols show two types of reactions. This is ROH, that is the general formula of alcohols. There are two possible reactions. There can be breakage over here RO, that is called as RO bond breakage, and then can be breakage over here, that is OH bond breakage. So, if there is RO bond breakage, there is one category of reactions wherein alcohols act as electrophiles, and when there is OH bond breakage, alcohols act as nucleophile, and we are getting another category of alcohol chemical reactions. Let us first see reactions involving cleavage of OH bond. First one is acidity of alcohols. Now, reaction with metals. Alcohols react with active metals such as sodium, potassium, aluminum to yield corresponding alkoxide. See, here OH bond breaking is taking place. When it is treated with sodium, hydrogen gas is evolved. Similarly, when tertiary butyl alcohol is treated with aluminum, hydrogen gas is released. It is indicative of the acidity of alcohols, that alcohols can lose H plus ions from OH group. Now, we will see the variation of acidity amongst different types of alcohols. See here, I have taken 3 different types of alcohols: primary, secondary and tertiary. Now, if we want an alcohol to lose H plus ions readily, the polarity between O and H bond should be very high, or we should increase the polarity of the OH bond, then only H plus ions can be easily lost. Now, you see primary alcohol, this alcohol has got plus I effect, electron pushing effect, and therefore, from this bond electrons are pushed towards this particular carbon. Now, in this case there are 2 alcohols, there are 2 alkyl groups, this is secondary alcohol. So, plus I effect is coming from 2 alkyl groups, electron density on this carbon is increased, therefore, polarity between C and OH bond here is decreased. Similarly, in case of tertiary alcohols, alkyl groups are coming from 3 different sides. There are 3 alkyl groups, and the plus I effect is also coming from 3 alkyl groups, which is going to increase electron density on this carbon to more extent, and thus again the polarity of OH bond is still more decreased. Therefore, we can say that primary alcohol is most acidic, then the secondary alcohol, and then the tertiary alcohol. See the esterification reaction. This is also an example of OH bond breakage. I have a carboxylic acid treated with alcohol, and see now OH bond is getting cleaved over here. OH bond is getting cleaved. Hydrogen of alcohol and OH of carboxylic acid are lost in the presence of H plus ions, and you are going to get an ester over here. The esters from alcohol can be prepared by changing the reagents like OH, that is alcohol, can be treated with carboxylic acid in the presence of acidic medium, and you are going to get an ester. You can also treat alcohol with acid anhydride, and you are going to get an ester. Similarly, in the presence of pyridine, alcohol can be treated with acid chlorides, and you are going to get an ester. So, these are the different ways in which you start with an alcohol, and you can get esters by reacting them with 3 different reagents. Now, we will go to the second category, that is reactions involving cleavage of CO bond in alcohols. So far whatever we have learned is the OH bond breakage. Now, we are going to see the CO bond breakage, wherein alcohols are going to behave as electrophiles. First one is the reaction with hydrogen halides, ROH plus HX. Okay, what is going to happen? OH is going to be replaced by RX. So, CO bond is cleaved over here. Reaction with phosphorus trihalide, I have taken phosphorus tribromide. Again here OH group is replaced by Br. You are going to get alkyl bromide, and this is the byproduct. Let us look at the third reaction, that is dehydration. This is ethanol, and what is going to happen here is, in the presence of acidic medium at high temperature, this OH group, that means there is CO bond breakage. OH group is going to go away with the hydrogen of the neighboring carbon as water, and this carbon-carbon single bond is going to get converted into carbon-carbon double bond, resulting in alkene. Now we will see the ease of dehydration of alcohols. If you take primary alcohol, see the reaction conditions you require to dehydrate it. H2SO4 and 443 Kelvin temperature, you get an alkene. If you start with secondary alcohol like this, propane 2-ol, the reaction conditions are diluted. You see here 85% of phosphoric acid at 440 Kelvin, you are going to get propene. And if you are making use of tertiary alcohol, still dilution occurs in the reaction conditions. You require only 20% of phosphoric acid and you are going to get an alkene. So what is the ease of carrying out dehydration? Tertiary undergoes dehydration faster or more easily than secondary and then primary alcohol. That is what we can conclude from this reaction. Oxidation is another example of alcohol reactions wherein CO bond cleavage occurs. So these are also known as dehydrogenation reactions, of course, because oxidation is nothing but removal of dihydrogen. So if you want to see the conclusions first only, then primary alcohol is oxidized to aldehyde, and if you carry out further oxidation, aldehyde finally gets converted into carboxylic acid. Similarly, if you start with secondary alcohol and oxidize it, you are going to get ketone from it. So we will see an example now. This is a primary alcohol. You can carry out the oxidation with a variety of oxidizing agent, like you can use sodium dichromate plus sulfuric acid. You can also make use of chromic acid. In some cases, you can also make use of pyridinium chlorochromate. So let us take any such reagent, only oxygen is going to come out of it. So here this hydrogen and one of these hydrogens, any one of these hydrogens will go away as H2, and carbon oxygen single bond gets converted into carbon oxygen double bond. If you carry out further oxidation, you are going to get carboxylic acid. If you start with secondary alcohol and carry out oxidation, you are going to get ketone. That means this hydrogen and this hydrogen will go away, single bond will get converted into double bond. Okay, so we have already seen these conclusions at the beginning of the slide. Now this PCC, what does this PCC stands for? Pyridinium chlorochromate is a mild or weak oxidizing agent. One of the uses of pyridinium chlorochromate is that if you want to stop the oxidation at an aldehydic stage, if you start with primary alcohol and oxidize it to aldehyde and you do not want further oxidation to be carried out, at that time you can make use of pyridinium chlorochromate. Another important use of pyridinium chlorochromate here is that, see, in this particular compound there are two sites of reaction. One is alcoholic group where the reaction can occur, and the second one is CH double bond CH. Here also oxidation can occur. If you make use of PCC, then the reaction is going to occur only at the alcoholic group. That means CH to OH group will get converted into CH double bond O group, that is aldehydic group, and double bond is going to remain intact in the final product also. In such conditions, if you want this desired product, then you are going to make use of pyridinium chlorochromate as an oxidizing agent. Dehydrogen can also be carried out using copper tube at 573 Kelvin. Just look at the reactions. Start with primary alcohol, dehydrogenate it using copper and 573 Kelvin temperature, you get an aldehyde. You start with secondary alcohol, dehydrogenate it, this will get removed and you are going to get a ketone. But if you take tertiary alcohol and treat it with copper at 573 Kelvin, dehydrogenation will not occur, but what is going to occur? Dehydration is going to occur. Hydrogen will be lost from any one of these three alkyl groups and you are going to get an alkene. Now we will go ahead with the second class of compounds, that is phenols. So the functional group which is present in case of phenol is also OH, like that we have seen in case of alcohols. Phenols also functional group is OH, but the general formula is AROH. In alcohols we had ROH. So, here instead of R we have aryl group, okay, or benzene nucleus which is directly attached to OH. So, this is the general formula of phenols. Let us see the nomenclature of phenols. This is the simple phenol, okay, the simplest one, which is also called as benzenol or carbolic acid, commonly called as carbolic acid. Now, we have one class of phenols in which CH3 group is attached along with OH group in the benzene nucleus. So, here this class of compounds is called as cresols. They are commonly called as cresols. So, if you see the common names of these compounds, this will be called as orthocresol, 1,2 position. This will be called as metacresol and this will be called as paracresol. If you want to write their IUPAC names, then this will become carbon number 1, carbon number 2. So, this is 2-methyl phenol or 2-methyl benzenol. This is 3-methyl phenol or 3-methyl benzenol. This is 4-methyl phenol or 4-methyl benzenol. Let us go ahead with the nomenclature of phenols. Again here a different class of phenols in which there are 2 OH groups on the benzene nucleus. So, here we have OH group with respect to 1,4 position from each other. So, the IUPAC name is benzene 1,4-diol since 2 hydroxyl groups are present on the benzene ring. The common name of this compound is hydroquinone. In this compound the OH groups are present with at 1,3 position from each other. So, this is benzene 1,3-diol commonly called as resorcinol and this is 1,2-diol, okay, ortho position. So, this is called as benzene 1,2-diol commonly called as catechol. Let us look at the methods of preparation of phenols. Phenols have generally 4 different methods of preparation. Let us quickly go through it. From haloarenes by nucleophilic substitution reaction, this chlorine is getting replaced by OH group. See what are the reaction conditions, they are very critical. Okay. So, halobenzene or chlorobenzene is treated with nucleophilic reagent sodium hydroxide at 623 Kelvin and you are going to get an phenol over here. The second method of preparation of phenol is from benzene sulfonic acid. This is benzene sulfonic acid which is treated with sodium hydroxide and hydrolyzed. You are going to get sodium salt of benzene sulfonic acid at the beginning and then when it is carried out further reacted with sodium hydroxide followed by hydrolysis, you are going to get phenol. The third method of preparation of phenols is from benzene diazonium salt, for which you need primary aromatic amine aniline as your starting material. This aniline is first diazotized with the help of NaNO2 and HCl followed by hydrolysis to give you benzene diazonium chloride. Benzene diazonium chloride are hydrolyzed further to give us phenols. Fourth method, which is industrially important method, is from cumene. Cumene is nothing but isopropyl benzene. This is air oxidized and you are going to get here cumene hydroperoxide. You have to just introduce the 2 oxygen between this carbon and this hydrogen. You are getting cumene hydroperoxide which is further hydrolyzed to give you phenol along with acetone. Now, this method is industrially important because the byproducts also can be sold in the market. So, it is cost effective, you can get benefit from this particular method. Physical properties of phenols are comparable with those of alcohols. Like alcohols, phenols also have a very high boiling point as compared to the hydrocarbons of similar molecular masses. This is due to the presence of intermolecular hydrogen bonding between phenol-phenol molecules. Solubility of phenols in water is also due to the formation of intermolecular hydrogen bonding of phenols with water. See here I have shown you the intermolecular hydrogen bonding. This is intermolecular hydrogen bonding between the 2 phenol molecules responsible for their higher boiling point. And in this case we have phenol and water molecule, and this is the hydrogen bonding between the two, and this is responsible for solubility of phenols in water. Chemical properties of phenols we will see. These are also acidic in nature. We have seen alcohols are acidic in nature, phenols are also acidic in nature. Moreover, phenols are more acidic than alcohols. These reactions are indicative of acidity of alcohols. Here when it is treated with sodium hydroxide, you are getting sodium salt of phenol, that is called as sodium phenoxide. Okay. This is acid plus base reaction like that. So, this is indicative of acidity of phenol. Similarly, when it is treated with sodium, hydrogen gas is released. This also indicates that this hydroxyl hydrogen or hydroxyl proton can be readily lost by phenols. Now, why phenols are acidic? Phenols are acidic because there is high polarity between this oxygen and hydrogen. Now, look at this resonating structures, structure 2, 3 and 4. This electron cloud, if you see, look at the first structure, the electron cloud is involved in resonance with the benzene ring. As a result, this oxygen gets positive charge. See, in structure 2, 3 and 4, oxygen is positively charged, and oxygen, since it is highly electronegative atom, it cannot withstand this positive charge for a long time. Therefore, this OH bond polarity increases. H plus ion is lost easily in order to destroy this positive charge on oxygen. As a result, phenols are known to lose protons easily. Among substituted phenols, what is the condition of acidity that we are going to see here? See, acidic strength is directly proportional to the negative I effect and inversely proportional to the positive I effect. See, we have seen that phenols are more acidic than alcohols. Now, if electron donating group is present in phenols, then this electron donating group is going to decrease the acidity of phenol. On the other hand, if you have electron withdrawing group on the phenolic ring, then they are going to increase the acidity of phenols. So, I have taken one example over here to illustrate the same. See here, phenols generally are more acidic than alcohols. Okay. Now, this phenol has an electron donating group, so it is less acidic than phenol. This decreases the acidity of phenol. Phenol is less acidic than another phenol to which electron withdrawing group is present. So, this is about the variation of acidity amongst different types of substituted phenols. Electrophilic aromatic substitution of phenols. See, in the last slide we have seen, if you look at the last slide all of you, these three structures are also indicative of the electron rich positions of the benzene ring in phenols. Ortho positions and para position in the phenolic ring are electron rich. This is going to help us to predict our products of electrophilic aromatic substitution. See, nitration is carried out in this reaction, dilute nitric acid is used. You are going to get two products over here, ortho product, orthonitrophenol and paranitrophenol. Orthonitrophenol here can be steam distilled due to the presence of intramolecular hydrogen bonding between NO2 and OH. But if the same phenol you are trying to carry out nitration under concentrated conditions, then you are going to get a picric acid over here, which is also called as 2,4,6 trinitrophenol. In this case, all ortho and para position is replaced by the nitro group. Bromination. Now, to carry out bromination, solvent plays a very important role. If you carry out bromination under aqueous condition, all the three positions, 2 ortho and 1 para positions are replaced by bromine, and you are going to get here 2,4,6 tribromophenol. Whereas, if you are using carbon disulfide as a solvent for bromination, then you are going to end up with two products, orthobromophenol and parabromophenol. Kopp's reaction, this is a name reaction of phenol, wherein phenol is treated with sodium hydroxide, OH group is protected, it is converted to ONA, then carbon dioxide is added on the benzene ring at ortho position, and followed by hydrolysis you are going to get 2-hydroxybenzoic acid, which is also called as salicylic acid in trivial name system. Riemer-Tiemann reaction is another name reaction of phenol. Here you are treating phenol with chloroform and aqueous sodium hydroxide. Here OH group is again protected with ONA and CHCl2 is added across this carbon, that is at ortho position. Then it is treated with sodium hydroxide, rearrangement occurs here and this group gets converted into aldehydic group, and then it is hydrolyzed to give us back this phenolic group OH, and therefore this is called as 2-hydroxybenzaldehyde or salicylaldehyde. So these are very important reactions, Riemer-Tiemann and Cope's reaction for phenols. This is reaction with zinc dust, which is as good as a reduction of phenol. Phenol is treated with zinc dust and heated, and you are going to get benzene over here. We can also carry out oxidation of phenols. Phenol is oxidized in the presence of sodium dichromate and sulfuric acid to give us benzoquinone. So we have just now seen the chemistry of phenols. Now we are going to see what are ethers and what is their chemistry. So look at the ethers now. What is the functional group? Here the functional group is called as oxygen, okay, which is called as ethereal oxygen, and this is the general formula. We can classify the general formula into two types, wherein this category is wherein oxygen on both of its sides, on the either side of the oxygen, similar alkyl groups are present or similar aryl groups are present, which are called as symmetric ethers. And on the other hand, in this case, this category, the alkyl groups on the either side of ethereal oxygens are different, or aryl groups are different, or one can be aryl or one can be alkyl. So all these will be called as asymmetric ethers. Let us look at the nomenclature of ethers, how they are named. IUPAC name of ether is alkoxyalkane and common name is alkyl ether. I have taken some examples over here. See, we have to select one alkoxy part and another alkane part. If you are naming the symmetrical ethers, you can join any alkyl group to the oxygen, it is not going to make any difference. So here I have taken a symmetric ether. Here I can attach this CH3 to this oxygen, it becomes methoxy group and the other part becomes methane group. So IUPAC name becomes methoxymethane and common name becomes dimethyl ether, since methyl group is present on the either side of the ethereal oxygen. Second example is also similar. I have taken symmetric ether, this becomes ethoxyethane or diethyl ether. Third one is asymmetric ether. Now whenever it comes to name the asymmetric ether, we have to take the smaller alkyl group along with the oxygen and make it alkoxy. So in this case we have methyl group which is smaller as compared to ethyl. So take methyl along with oxygen, then it is going to become methoxy group. It is attached to ethane, therefore it is going to become methoxyethane, IUPAC name, and common name will be ethyl methyl ether, okay, following the alphabetical order of the initial letters of alkyl groups. So this is some few more examples which is also there in your textbook, you can refer it. I would like to focus your attention on this particular compound. This is an aromatic ether. There is a methoxy group which is attached to the benzene ring, therefore methoxybenzene, its market name is anisole and common name will become methyl phenyl ether. Similarly, this becomes ethoxybenzene, IUPAC name, and common name will be ethyl phenyl ether, commonly called as phenitol. So like this there are a few more examples which you can refer. Let us go ahead quickly with the preparation of ethers. You can prepare ethers from alcohols by dehydration. This top reaction we have already seen in case of alcohol dehydration. So our evaluation is over here. If you want to prepare symmetric ethers, then you have to dehydrate alcohols at 413 Kelvin. This temperature is important because at some other temperature it gives you some other product. The more versatile method of preparation of ethers is Williamson synthesis, wherein you can prepare both symmetrical as well as asymmetrical ethers. Now, you should take preferentially primary alkyl halide, treat it with sodium alkoxide, and you are going to get ROR dash and NaX will be lost. So, this should be preferentially primary alkyl halide. I have taken an example of methyl iodide, treated it with sodium ethoxide, and what has happened? Na and I have gone away and CH3O, CH2CH3, this type of compound is formed. Now, if you want to prepare aromatic ether, this should be your alkoxide compulsorily. Alkoxide should come from sodium phenoxide, which you can prepare by treating phenol with sodium hydroxide, and the other part of the ether will come from the alkyl halide. So, here there is a formation of anisole. So, this thing we have to remember. Physical properties of ethers. If you compare the physical properties of ethers with alcohols, especially the boiling point, we will find that ethers have little lower boiling point than alcohols. What may be the reason? In case of phenols, we have seen, or in case of alcohols, we have seen that there is intermolecular hydrogen bonding which raises or increases their boiling point. But in case of ethers, the forces of interaction amongst the ether molecules are dipole-dipole interactions, and because of which their boiling point is little lower. If you see the solubility of ethers, then solubility of ethers and alcohols is almost to the same extent in water, and it is due to the formation of intermolecular hydrogen bonding of ethers with water. Let us look at the chemical properties of ethers. This is ROR, okay. Cleavage of CO bond in ethers is the first reaction. This is ether, the symmetrical ether is treated with axis of HX, and what you are going to get? See, there is a CO bond cleavage over here. X is going to attach to this alkyl group, hydrogen is going to attach to this oxygen, you are going to get alcohol plus alkyl halide. Alcohol is again going to treat with HX, and again this OH is going to be replaced by X, again you are going to get an alkyl halide. If you are starting with aromatic ethers and carrying out HI reaction with it, then compulsorily hydrogen will go to this oxygen and I will go to the alkyl group. So, this thing we have to remember. I will show you over here. Nucleophile will not attack here. Which is the nucleophile? I is the nucleophile which is not going to attack over here. Where it is going to attack? Nucleophile is going to attack over here. If you take this category of bulkier ethers, like this is tertiary butyl methyl ether, then if you treat this compound with HI, you will find that I always goes to this bulkier group, and then the other part goes and form alcohol. We have taken now the examples of electrophilic aromatic substitution. OR group on the benzene ring is electron donating group, it is activating group, therefore it is going to direct the incoming electrophile at ortho and para position. So, you see here this is an example of Friedel-Crafts alkylation, we know the reaction condition. Methyl group gets added at para position and ortho position, para being the major product. Friedel-Crafts acylation, here acyl group is going to get added to the ortho group and para being the major product. Bromination is carried out, again we are going to get para product and ortho product, as well as the nitration. We know these reaction conditions we have studied in the past. So, we are going to get para nitro and ortho nitro anisols in this case. So, all of you, we have finished with the chemistry of alcohols, phenols and ethers. I have briefly introduced this lesson to you and tried to give you as much as idea of different reactions which these different classes of compounds undergo. Now, the rest is left on you. See, organic chemistry can be mastered only with practice. So, more you practice, more fruitful results you will get. So, I wish you all the best for your practice of organic chemistry as well as for your future upcoming examinations. Thank you very much.
Prudent Scholars, powered by Lupin Pharmaceuticals.